Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am going to discuss order of operations with you guys. This is the order we use to simplify mathematical expressions. Now, the mnemonic device we use to remember this is Pemdas. Pemdas, okay? My pen is not writing here apparently. So let me try this one more time. It's got a little part over here where it's scratched. That's why it's acting like this, okay? So yeah, let's move over a little bit, okay? There we go. PEMDAS is the acronym we use. We do not use D or Aunt Sally anymore. It's been too long since we're using Aunt Sally. Aunt Sally's dead, guys. Okay, let's move on. Okay, PEMDAS, the P stands for your parentheses, guys. Parentheses, your grouping symbols. Your grouping symbols, like your parentheses, of course, your close brackets. Here, let me write this down for you. Brackets. Also, your braces go in here too. Your braces, okay? So those are your grouping symbols. And then don't forget that fraction bar, okay? Let me write this down, the fraction bar. Sometimes people forget about the fraction bar, but the fraction bar is clearly very important, guys. So fraction bar, very, very important. Now, next, we move on to E. E stands for the exponents. Okay, as well as the radicals, 3 squared exponent. The radicals also fall on this level too, like the square root of 9, okay? Next, we have the big ones, multiplication, division. This is where you have to be careful when you're dealing with multiplication and division, guys. If you encounter both multiplication and division in a problem, you want to work it out from left to right, okay? So if we have a quick example, this is just like you're reading a book, left to right, guys. So a quick example of this, let's say you had 12 divided by 4 times 5, okay? And you wanted to do this problem. If you're going up and down, okay, and you encounter multiplication and then division, you were to go ahead and do this problem, you would do 4 times 5, which is 20, and then 12 divided by 20, that would not make any sense, okay? However, if you work it out from left to right, okay, quick workout, you do 12 divided by 4, which gives you 3, and then you multiply it by 5, so that gives you 15. And there you are, okay? So when you encounter both multiplication and division in a problem, you want to work it out from left to right, just like you're reading a book, guys, all right? Likewise, it is the same thing with addition and subtraction. If you encounter both types of operations in a problem, you want to work it out from left to right, just like you're reading a book, okay? So be careful with this. Here's a quick example, 4 minus 9 plus 6. If you're doing a problem like this, if you were to do the addition first, 9 plus 6 is 15, 4 minus 15 wouldn't make any sense. However, you want to do the subtraction first, which is -5, and then add the 6 to it. So the answer for this one will turn out to be 1, okay? So guys, be careful when it comes to doing order of operations. Now, I am going to go through some quick examples with you guys, a series of examples. Remember, when you log on to Math Excel to do your assignment, you will see similar problems in Math Excel. I'm going to do about 4 examples with you guys, and then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part of this. The first example is very basic. It is 7 times the quantity, 3 minus 8 squared. So you want to go ahead and simplify this using order of operation. So order of operation says to start with simplifying what's inside the parentheses. Inside the parentheses, you have 3 minus 8. So 3 minus 8 will give you a -5. So we simplify that. Now, you move on. You've got a power in here. So the next step is to simplify the power out. The -5 squared means -5 times -5. So that's going to give you 25. Okay, so for this one right here, guys, you're going to have 7 times 25. Okay, all right, 7 Hold up a second. Wait a minute. What's going on? All right. Let's try this one more time. 7 times 25. There we are. Shazam. Okay. Technical difficulties. 7 times 25. You multiply that on a calculator, guys. So that's going to give you 175. And just like that, you're done. All right. Let's move on to number 2. Now, for number 2, you need to be super careful, guys. Negative 3 squared plus 2 to the third power. Now, there are some similarities to the previous problem in that here, the negative 5 is inside a set of parentheses and it's being squared, and it turned out to be 25. Here, since the negative is not enclosed inside a set of parentheses with the 3, only the 3 is being squared. So you want to keep the negative and just square the 3. 3 squared is 9. And then 2 cubed, guys, means 2 times 2 times 2. So when you multiply those 3 together, you get 8. And then you add, so you end up with a negative 1. All right. So that was the second problem. As promised, I was going to do 4 examples. So I'm going to do 2 more under this section right here. So here, let me go ahead and give you something that's a little bit more challenging. Ooh, Shazam, there's a fraction coming, guys. I know some of you don't like working with fractions. Excuse me. All right, so here we are. Now, on this one right here, guys, yes, there's a fraction in there. Okay, so I want to spend a little bit of time on here because I know you guys hate working with fractions. So there's a couple ways you can manipulate this. The easiest way, of course, is to think of the negative 8 as negative 8 over 1, and it is multiplying the negative 3 over 4. And then you go ahead and simplify that. By the way, you have a negative right here and another negative right here. When you multiply them, you're going to get a positive. One of the quickest ways to simplify this is to say 8 times 3 is 24, and 1 times 4 is 4, and you reduce that to 6. Another easy way to simplify this is to figure out 4 goes into 8. How many times? 2 times. 2 times 3, 6. Gives you 6 again, okay? Now, additionally, because this fraction is an exact fraction, as in if you put it into a calculator, it'll give you an exact decimal. So this one right here, guys, you could actually change it into a decimal and multiply it by negative 8 and actually come up with 6. I don't recommend that very frequently. I'd rather you work with the fractions. But in this instance here, you can actually convert that 3/4 to 0.75 and multiply it by negative 8, and it works, okay? So then pretty much, guys, the hardest part of the problem is done. 6 minus 8 is going to give you a negative 2, and there's your answer. That's it. Yeah, that was a little bit challenging, but that's not too bad, guys, not too bad. Okay. So now I'm going to do a very long one. Let me see if I can squeeze it in here. It is 25, and this is example 4, like I promised. Okay. It is 25 minus the quantity. Okay, there's a bracket in there. 3 minus 5. Okay, why isn't this writing? 3 minus 5. And then plus, in parentheses, 14 minus 18. Oh, long problem. Squared. Okay. Yeah, you guys can see that. Okay, guys, so we're going to start inside the brackets. Inside the brackets, we have 2 sets of parentheses, so we need to simplify both of them. 3 minus 5 gives you negative 2. 14 minus 18 gives you a negative 4. Now, remember, you're still inside the bracket, and all of this is being squared. So continue simplifying inside the grouping symbol. Negative 2 plus negative 4 gives you negative 6. And then you want to square that. Now, guys, be careful. You are squaring a negative 6. So when you square that negative 6, because it's enclosed inside the set of brackets, it's going to turn out to be 36. And then you subtract 25 minus 36, gives you negative 11. And there you are, guys. Now, another part of this that I like to discuss with students is when it comes to order of operations is evaluating expressions, okay? So let me also talk about this now. Evaluating expression. So this is where you're going to be finding the value of an expression given the value of the variables, guys. And to do this, you're going to use, of course, order of operations. So this falls under the same category, okay? So guys, I want to go ahead and do a few examples of this, make it very easy. So here's a few problems just to get us started. We're going to evaluate the following. If x is equal to 9, y is equal to -2. All right, so let's start with an easy one. Here's the first one. It is -3y squared. We're going to evaluate this. So in evaluating this, guys, we're going to substitute, okay, right here. We're going to substitute in here because y is equal to -2. We're going to substitute -2 in for y. And then work out the problem using order of operations. So we simplify -2 squared, which is 4. So you have -3 times 4, which gives you -12. And that's it, guys. There's your answer. Now, the next one, number 2, I've got 4x minus 10y. Very straightforward. We're just using order of operation. We're going to go in and we are going to substitute the x value in as well as the y value. The x value is 9. The y value is -2. And then we're going to work this out. By the way, you could also plug these into a calculator. Calculators are designed to do order of operations. So you can actually type into your calculator 4 times 9 minus 10 times -2 and get your answer. 4 times 9 is 36. -10, by the way, guys, when you do this, it's going to be a -10. And if you're having a tough time seeing this, you might want to cover this part up. Okay, how do I cover it up? I can't see how to cover it up. But anyways, whatever. Okay, so one of the ways to look at this, guys, is to pretend like the 4 times 9 is not there. So if it's not there, what you have left over is -10 times -2. So you're essentially multiplying 2 negatives together. And then you add to get 56. That's easy, right? Yeah, totally. Okay, so now guys, let's do one that's a little bit more challenging. Here it is, example number 3. And I think I'm gonna leave you right here with example number 3, okay? Example number 3, guys. Oh, we might have to do the distributive property too, okay? Now, for example number 3, this is complicated. Square root of x over y minus y over x. Remember, x is equal to 9. We're evaluating still. Y is equal to -2. So we're going to go in here and substitute all these values out. So we're going to end up with the square root of 9 over -2 minus -2 over 9. So now let's go ahead and simplify this. Square root of 9 is 3. The negative, guys, this negative right here, I am going to move it mid-fraction. So that's the first fraction, -3 over 2. Now, for the second fraction, you will notice we have minus a negative. That's going to become a positive. And then we're going to carry over the 2 over 9. Uh-oh, we're adding 2 fractions, guys. The denominators are different, so we're going to have to find the LCD. Remember, Math Excel doesn't like fractions, guys. I mean, doesn't like decimals, Shazam. It doesn't like decimals, so if you encounter a fractional answer, you need to type in that fractional answer. Okay, so now let's go ahead and find the LCD. What's the LCD between 2 and 9? Okay, the LCD between 2 and 9, the smallest number 2 and 9 can go into evenly, is 18. Remember, whatever you do to the denominator, you must do it to the numerator. To go from 2 to 18, we multiply 2 times 9. So we're going to do likewise to the numerator. We get negative 27. Next, to go from 9 to 18, we multiply this by 2. So we're going to multiply the numerator by 2. So we get 4. So now, guys, the denominators are alike. We're going to keep the denominator and add the numerators together. So we get negative 23 over 18. Remember, Math Excel doesn't like decimals, so you want to type in the negative 23 over 18. And that's it, okay? Now, last part of this, guys, is to talk about the distributive property. I know it's easy. Do I really need to talk about the distributive property? Okay. I think it's easy enough. I really don't have to talk about it. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave the distributive property alone. Maybe do a couple of examples just to get you guys going in the right direction. All right. Remember, when we're dealing with the distributive property, guys, all we're doing is taking the value in front of the parentheses and multiplying it by everything inside the parentheses. So right here, guys, look at this one, negative 11c minus 2 times 4 minus 2c. For this one right here, we want to apply the distributive property. Now be careful when you're applying the distributive property. The reason why I'm targeting this one is because you're not just multiplying by 2. You're going to multiply by a negative 2. Everything inside the parentheses gets multiplied by a negative 2. So you carry down the negative 11c, distribute the negative 2, so negative 2 times 4, that's going to give you a negative 8, and negative 2 times negative 2c, that's going to give you a positive 4c. Now, for this one right here, you are required to combine like terms. So we're going to combine the negative 11c with a 4c. So we end up with a negative 7c, and then bring down the minus 8. And there you go. That's not too bad. So you distribute and combine like terms. Let me just do one more, and then I will sign off, guys, because obviously this is easy enough. All right, so number 2, 3x minus 4 times x minus 5, okay, and then plus x. So on this one, again, guys, I like to focus on those negatives because students have a very difficult time with the negatives. I want you to notice right here in front of the parentheses, you have a 4, but because of this negative here, you have to include it with the 4. So you're distributing a negative 4. So we're going to distribute that negative 4. We get negative 4x plus 5, because this is a negative, that's a negative, so when you multiply them, you get a positive. And now it's all about, oops, where did I get that 5 from? That's supposed to be an x. All right, guys, so now it's all about combining the like terms. We're going to combine 3x minus 4x plus x. Shazam, they cancel out, guys, they cancel out. 3x minus 4x is negative x. Negative x plus 5 plus x, they cancel each other out, leaving you with just 5. And bam, just like that, you're done. And guys, I am done with you. That's it, okay? Until next time, bye.